Hello everyone and welcome to day 46 of my 90-day personal challenge to create positive videos. Today is day 10 of our relationship series and we're talking about something super sensitive today, rejection. And I need you in this because the reason I picked this topic is I'm right in the middle of rejection. And since I am all about being genuine and authentic and I want to create a community of that where we can be vulnerable and honest and share our struggles and strength, I'm attacking this topic today. Hopefully, nurturing you and I together as we look for the positive power in rejection. So let's begin. What does it feel like to get rejected? Well, it's not like a fun carnival ride. It's more like a tragic, knife to the heart, right? Rejection feels terrible. Why does it feel terrible? Because when we feel rejected, we're taking a hit to our self-esteem and our confidence. We start to look at what's wrong with me. Maybe we devalue ourselves, or maybe we think, did I do something wrong? Did I get the equation misunderstood? And it makes sense that we would look at that first to see what went wrong. If we can look at an experience without judgment and just take it in as data, that would be fantastic. But what most people do in human behavior is we start to play the blame game. We either start blaming ourselves or blaming the other person for how the relationship went wrong. Why do we do this? Well, in human behavior, our instinct is to protect ourselves. And so in order to protect ourselves, there needs to be an enemy. There needs to be a perpetrator and there needs to be a victim. When we place people as victims and perpetrators and we blame and judge them, then we almost build up this fortress. We either use it to attack the other gender or that particular person or that relationship, or we build up walls in order to protect us from future attacks on our heart. Why is this good? Well, it's good because it may protect you and your ego from feeling anything too deeply and from ever getting hurt again. That seems good, right? Well, there is an opposite side to the coin. Whenever we start to build walls up, right, and we start to attack other people, we keep ourselves from the love and the genuine intimacy that we really want to get out of love, if that's what we're going for. The deeper we go into blame and judgment of ourselves or the other person, the more superficial the relationships that we get into and the less depth we have in the intimacy and the connections we want to make. Why is that? Because we build these walls around our hearts that say, you can't get in. I want you to come in. I want you to come in. Please come in. But no, you can't come in. So have you ever felt the wave of drawing someone to you and then rejecting them? Well, that is very natural in relationships, especially at our age or my age. There is so much baggage out there with relationships. And so a lot of times people just give up on relationships, or they may just settle for something way less than what they know they're capable of having because they've built up the walls of judgment and gotten stuck in this first stage of taking things personally. That's what rejection does. We take such a hit on our egos that at the beginning stages, we take it very personally. Well, I'm going to say today that there is a different process that can actually take rejection and bring us through it in a more positive way. If we can recognize in the stage of taking things personally and blaming and judging other people, recognize it and then just release it and recognize that it's really just a reaction of our ego wanting to protect us from the pain and suffering we're feeling, we can move on to the next stage of understanding. In the stage of understanding, we now use the experience and the relationship to help us to see what we gained and what we were wanting from the relationship. We get to see ourselves. As we look at the experience as with just data, clear data without the emotion, but just the experience, and we look at how it made us feel, what we loved about it, what we didn't like about it, our desires in the midst of it, what we would like to create, then we get a better understanding of what our idea of love is and what we want out of a relationship. Well, this is where rejection can be really powerful because it's through that rejection when you start to see where you felt like your own needs weren't met, that you will be able to assess who you are in this space and what you want. Powerful place to be in understanding because once you pass stage one of not taking things personally, and going into the stage of understanding, you start to create the platform for creating the kind of desirous relationship that you want. A lot of people get stuck in the first stage, so they're missing out on the passion and the connection and the intimacy they want because their hearts are closed. When you get to the stage of understanding, you start to crack that shell a little bit that's wanting to come up. There's a layer of protection that's wanting to come up in the stage of understanding that in this place you get to keep chiseling away at. You keep getting to put that wall down, because as you release the judgment of blaming the other person or yourself in the experience, you keep room open for love to show you the value of what you gain from the experience and to set the platform for getting you there. Does that make sense? I mean, really, how many of you out in the dating world, especially at our age, have met people with so many walls in front of their hearts? There's just so much blockage there. And I'm not saying I'm that different, but I feel like I am. In this last dynamic, this person really kind of cracked open my heart a little bit. They were like with a jackhammer trying to open up my heart. And I loved it. They couldn't have done that unless I was open to the experience. But because I manifested a desire for true intimacy, I brought in this person into my world to crack open my heart. Well, when they did that, I was hoping that they would stay, but they didn't. And I don't understand why they didn't, but I don't necessarily need to understand that as much as I need to accept it, okay? So I have to accept that this other person didn't necessarily want the same things that I wanted or wanted to go as far as I wanted to go in a relationship. And that's okay. It isn't personal. And now that I'm gaining some understanding, it helps me with the ebb and flow of the rejection. So from stage 1 to stage 2, there are going to be big impulses of feeling really rejected and wanting to blame, and then setting into a space of trying to understand instead. You go through these hard moments, and then you move yourself into the softer moment as you recognize that the hard moment of blame and judgment aren't serving you. So like I'm in the middle stage right now of understanding. I feel these moments of rejection and they feel really, really painful and they drain my energy. But then I go into my meditation space and I look at the same experience with data instead of judgment and try to understand who I was in that space and what it is that I want. And it's very, very powerful, which then can move us on to the next stage. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm a little bit there. You can have your toes in each of these spaces at different levels. So the third stage is when you feel like your heart is open and ready to move on to the next experience. At stage 3, you have compassion and love and confidence, and you believe in love again. So at this stage, what you've done through the stage of understanding is you've started to nurture your own love. In the space of stage 3, which I guess I'm going to call building myself back up, is that feeling of rejection and low energy that you're in is an incredible opportunity to give yourself the love that you're needing in this very vulnerable space. So what do I mean by that? Well, when you take a hit of rejection and it hits your self-esteem and it hits your heart, in this space of building yourself back up, what you do is you start to love and accept who you are in this moment. You love and accept and give compassion to the person inside of you that's suffering and feels sad. You have almost a mini funeral for the experience that you just had and that you feel like you lost. You accept it though. You accept the loss of the experience and the ending of it. And you love the girl or the guy that wanted that experience. And then you give yourself the love and the connection and the intimacy that you're wanting in such a vulnerable space. So what would that look like for me? In that space, it's honoring the little girl inside of me that wants pure, innocent, connecting love. At this stage in my life, for many people, it's very difficult to believe in that kind of love because there's so much baggage. Well, I'm choosing not to believe that. I believe that there is a man out there that wants to love me openly and honestly and genuinely, and we want to be each other's best friend, and we want to support one another. I believe that I could have that. I was initially attracted to that in this other dynamic, but it was short-lived. One of the good things that this relationship did bring to me is it did make me believe that there was a guy that could fill that spot. And so in this stage of building myself back up, it's honoring that girl inside of me that wants that innocent relationship and then believing that I can have it. So I will do that continuously as I move from stage 1 to stage 2. And as the blows of stage 1 start to settle down and stage 2 and understanding show up stronger, I'll move into the building up stage as I continue loving and believing in the kind of love that I know I can have. And then from stage 3, once you feel deeply connected with yourself, that's when I believe it's the safest to go out in the world. Now, a lot of people, they stay stuck in stage 1 because their ego has been attacked. And so they feel like another relationship will satisfy that loneliness and that desire for connection. And I'm not judging here. If that works for you, great, 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 great. You'll do that. But at some point, it would be beneficial to deal with those repressed feelings and that pain and to acknowledge who you are in that space in order to really get to the level of intimacy you want in a relationship. I don't believe that the pain and the insecurities and the suffering that you feel from rejection will just go away on its own. It needs to be faced. And for me anyway, these are the stages that I go through. Well, once I hit that 4th stage, I will feel a deep connection to myself. As I feel a deep connection with myself and my own love, I start to put that energy out there. When I start to put that energy out there, it can't not be attractive. I mean, I've seen it attract many men. Because when you feel complete and whole in yourself, there's a confidence where the other person doesn't feel like you're needy or you're wanting something from them or that you need a relationship to fulfill you. They see this sunshine and this confidence and this happiness and they're attracted to it. And so that's the way that I want to present because that's what I want to attract in my life. You put out who you are. You attract who you are. And if I'm needy and insecure, that's what I'm going to attract. And that is not what I want to attract. I want to attract a genuine heart, a handsome man who's genuine and loving and wants to support and be friends with me throughout the rest of this journey on our lives. And I believe I can have it. Honestly, at this stage, I have a little bit of doubt, but I know that on the other side of this, that I will become stronger and more confident and more connected to myself, which is only going to make me more attractive and compatible for the love that I want. Anyway, thank you for letting me share this space with you. I hope this video helped you and brought value to you in some positive way. It already did me as I sat here in this vulnerable space with you and saw for myself that there's so much positivity in the energy of rejection. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you see something really, really beautiful. And I hope the most beautiful thing you see today is you. I will see you in the next video.